learning is a continuous process. We humans learn every day. We have new lessons every day, and if we don't learn, if we don't innovate, if we don't improve our capacity, we lag far behind other competitors, other colleagues who regularly improve their skills and capacity. We live in a very competitive world where we have to compete with our family members, with our friends, with our colleagues, and the best way is to practice, to study, to learn, to explore, to research. All things are very critical for us. Hello viewers, welcome to Virtual Civil Services Academy by Z.A.Langah. And in my today's talk, I will speak on meaning part of adjective. If you have watched my previous video on adjective, wherein I discussed about adjective, its kinds and ways of forming adjectives. In today's talk, I will speak on degrees of adjectives, what is positive, comparative and superlative degree, and how these degrees are formed, what is irregular comparison, and how and why can adjectives used as nouns, and how nouns can be used as adjectives. In addition to this, I will also speak on position of adjectives in a sentence. What should be the ideal position of certain adjectives in a sentence or group of words, and why. If you recall, we already have discussed position of adjective in previous talk on adjective, but in this talk we will be discussing advanced level of use of adjectives. And finally, we will learn about use of some adjectives which are normally misplaced, wrongly used in sentences. So let's start with a study of comparison of adjectives or degrees of adjectives. There are basically 3 degrees of comparison, that is positive, comparative and superlative. And these 3 degrees of comparison of adjectives are used in a very different way. They are simply used to describe quality of certain noun or pronoun in an increasing order. However, a positive degree of comparison doesn't show any comparison. It is not used for any kind of comparison. Positive degree of adjective simply tells about presence of certain quality in a certain noun, certain pronoun being represented by group of words doing the work of a noun or pronoun. So we say Salman Khan is a good actor. This is a positive sentence, and this degree of adjective is positive because it simply tells about the quality of noun Salman Khan, and it doesn't compare Salman Khan with any other actor. So as there is no comparison of Salman Khan with any other actor, and there is just one noun, and it is not being compared with any other noun of his class or kind, we say that it is a positive sentence. In positive sentence, no comparison is made. They simply describe the quality of a noun or pronoun in simple adjective form. Second level of comparison is comparative degree. Comparative degree of adjective. In this kind of comparisons, 2 nouns or 2 set of nouns are compared, and quality of one is compared with other, and it is shown that quality of one noun is better than quality of another noun. Such sentences are called adjectives of comparative degree. For example, we say that Salman Khan is better actor than Akshay Kumar. In this sentence, there is comparison of quality of Salman Khan with quality of Akshay Kumar, and a message is being conveyed that 2 nouns being represented by Salman Khan and Akshay Kumar are being compared with each other in terms of their quality, and it is being conveyed that quality of acting of Salman Khan is better than quality of acting of Akshay Kumar. So there is a comparison between 2 nouns. Such kind of sentences are called adjectives of comparative degree. I hope this is clear to you. And finally, we have the highest degree of comparison, that is called superlative degree. In superlative degree, highest quality of adjective is given, and these kind of comparison are made when more than 2 things or nouns or set of nouns are compared with each other. We use superlative degree. As I said, superlative degrees shows the highest form of adjective or highest quality of certain adjective. For example, we say Salman Khan is the best actor of all the Indian actors. Here Salman Khan has been compared with all the Indian actors, and it has been shown that he has got the highest quality of acting as compared to other Indian actors. And such comparisons are called comparison of superlative degree. I hope that you have got clear idea of comparison of adjectives. Please understand this, it is very important for learning of English language, because you have to compare and contrast so many things in your spoken and written English. And once you have understood all these things, then comes the time when you have to attempt such kind of questions in your exams, or you have to communicate verbally in your interviews, where you have to show your potential skills of language. And if you don't learn these things, you may not be able to perform in your exams or interviews very well. So if you want to perform better, you must learn these kind of things. These are not difficult. I believe these are not difficult, and once you listen these lectures, you may also go back to your home, to your school, to your class, and refer to the books. You should practice these things in a regular way, because learning is a continuous process. We humans learn every day. We have new lessons every day, and if we don't learn, if we don't innovate, if we don't improve our capacity, we lag far behind other competitors, other colleagues who regularly improve their skills and capacity. We live in a very competitive world where we have to compete with our family members, with our friends, with our colleagues, and the best way is to practice, to study, to learn, to explore, to research. All things are very critical for us. And similarly, learning of parts of speech, learning of parts of grammar, learning adjectives, use of comparison is very important for all of us, because we have to perform. English is not our mother tongue, it is a foreign language, and the best way to learn a foreign language is to practice it more and more. The more we practice, the more fluent and the more conversant we get with it. Now we'll learn how comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives are formed. There are many ways of forming comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives. Most adjectives of one syllable or more than one syllable are formed comparative by adding er in the adjective word, and superlative by adding est in the superlative word. This is very simple. You have to add er or est to comparative and superlative. You have to keep the positive intact. Positive is the basic word. I will here give example of 3 adjectives. Like young. Young is a positive adjective. Then we have to make it younger. We added er. Younger is a comparative degree. Comparative degree is used when 2 nouns are compared with each other. Then youngest. Youngest is the superlative degree, when quality of more than 2 nouns is compared with each other. Great, greater, greatest. And finally, tall, taller, and tallest. Tall is positive, taller is comparative, and tallest is the superlative degree. I hope this is clear to you. There are some exceptions. There are different exceptions which you have to research, which you have to study in your grammar and English learning books. Some nouns which end in article E or the letter E are formed comparative and positive simply by adding R and RST at their end. Comparative are made by adding R, and superlative by adding ST. Like large. Word large ends with letter E, so its comparative would be larger. We simply added R, and its superlative would be largest. We added ST because E was already there. Similarly, noble, nobler, noblest. We followed the same way. And finally, wise, wiser, wisest. This is simple way. You have to just memorize the rule that the adjectives are the words which end in E are simply made comparative and superlative by adding R or RST at their end. However, there are some words which end with the consonant Y, but consonant Y is preceded by an other consonant. We simply turn Y into I and add ER and EST to comparative and superlative respectively. This is like the previous example where we added R and RST. Here we have to turn Y into I because Y is preceded by a consonant, and we have to turn Y into I and add ER and EST to comparative and superlative degrees respectively. Like heavy. Now heavy ends with a consonant word Y, but there is an other consonant word before Y, which is V. So what we would do, we would simply turn Y into I and add ER in the comparative degree, and similarly in the superlative degree we would add EST. So the positive, comparative and superlative degrees would be heavy, heavier and heaviest. Similarly wealthy, wealthier and wealthiest. Finally easy, easier and easiest. However, there are different rules for the positive words of one syllable which end with a consonant and are preceded by a short vowel. They simply are made comparative and superlative by doubling the consonant and adding ER and EST. This will be clear in the examples. Big is a word of one syllable and ends with a consonant G, but is preceded by a short vowel I. So what we will do, we will double the consonant G and add ER in the comparative. Like we have positive big, then comparative bigger, BIGGER, and the superlative biggest, BIGGEST. What we did is to simply double the consonant and add ER or EST in the comparative and superlative. This is again very simple, and there are two more examples of it. Hot, hotter, hottest. This is same like big. Consonant is preceded by a short vowel O, and what we will do is that we will double the consonant and add ER and EST in the comparative and superlative. Similarly, we have thin, thinner, thinnest. I hope it is also clear. However, the positive words or positive adjectives of more than two syllables are made comparative and superlative by adding word more or most. We add more in comparative and most in superlative. Like we have beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Difficult, more difficult, most difficult. Courageous, more courageous, most courageous. I believe this is also very easy. However, some positive degrees take double form. They are either made comparative and superlative by adding ER and EST, or they are made comparative and superlative by adding more or most. But there are certain rules for them, like some words which end with full, some positive words which end with full, FUL, less, LESS, ing form, ED, and many others. Like we can say polite, politer, politest, or we can make comparative and superlative by more and most also. Similarly, cruel, crueler, and cruelest. We can also do like more cruel and most cruel. There are many words which take double form, and one has to just memorize the rule, like full, ES, ED, ing. Just bear in mind these rules and you will find it very easy and convenient. Just memorize these rules, just understand them and then use and practice. It may also be noted that when we describe two qualities of a noun and one is more than the other one, we don't describe any kind of comparison there. When two qualities of a same noun are compared, we don't use comparative and superlative with ER and EST, but we do with more and most. Like we say Salman Khan is more a good actor than cricketer. Some positive degrees of adjectives are made comparative and superlative by irregular comparison. And by irregular comparison, we mean that an entirely a different word is used in comparative and another one in superlative. I have already given an example of good, better and best. I will give more example for the irregular comparisons. Much, more, most. This is used for quantity. Many, more, most. This is used for number. Far, farther, farthest. So during discussion we saw that some comparative words take word then after them. Like Aslam is intelligent than Salim. But there are certain words which are followed by preposition to. There are certain words which have lost their comparative and superlative. They are mostly of foreign origin or Latin or Italian or French. But there are certain words which take preposition to in their comparative form. These words are inferior, superior, prior, anterior, posterior, senior and junior. These words when used in comparative degree take preposition to rather than the word then. So now we'll learn how adjectives are used as nouns and how nouns are used as adjectives. It is very common in English to use adjective as nouns and nouns as adjectives. Simply you have to keep in mind certain rules and certain instructions of grammarians to use adjectives as nouns and nouns as adjectives in your written and spoken English. First use is the plural nouns which are used to represent a class, like the poor, the rich. The poor and the rich are basically adjectives, but they can be used as nouns because the rich and poor represent their entire class. Similarly, singular nouns which represent abstract quality, like the future is unknown to us. The word future is adjective, but is used as noun. The beautiful are always liked. Here the word beautiful is adjective, but is used as noun. The beautiful are always liked. Here the word beautiful is adjective, but is used as noun, as a subject. Like some adjectives have become nouns, like the nationality, Americans, Indians, Pakistanis, all these are now used as nouns. Adjectives are also used as nouns in certain phrases, as from bed to worse, in general, for good, before long, and so on and so forth. There are so many. While some adjectives are used as nouns, but some nouns are also used as adjectives. One must keep in mind. It is also very simple. Like we say the school going, the school kid, the hospital nurse. The school and hospital are basically nouns, but are used as adjectives. They are used before noun to qualify it. Basically they are nouns, but in the sentence they do the work of adjectives. Hence they have been used as adjectives. Now we shall discuss on position of adjectives in a sentence. If you recall, in my previous talk on adjective, I had told that adjectives can be used attributively, means before the subject, or they can also be used predicatively or in the predicate part of the sentence. Like intelligent minds create intelligent thoughts. We can use the same word predicatively, that he has got an intelligent mind. Now the word intelligent mind in the previous sentence was used attributively, and in this sentence it has been used predicatively. It may also be noted that in poetry, adjective always is placed after the noun, not before it, like children the deer. It may also be noted that when multiple adjectives are attached to a noun, they are always placed after the noun. They don't precede it, or they are not placed before it, or they are not used as attributively, but they rather follow it. Say for example, Shahrukh, the intelligent and competent boy, was selected as CR of the class. Here the competent and intelligent are two adjectives which add to the quality of noun Shahrukh, are placed immediately after the noun. Please bear this in mind, that use them accordingly in order to convey your message to the examiner, to the assessor, to your teacher, that you have gone through all the rules of grammar and composition and you know the use of these words. And finally, now we will discuss use of some adjectives which are always misused or confused or wrongly used. First is some and any. some is used in positive sense and any is used in negative sense. Some is used for quantity or degree and any is used for number. Any is used for negative or interrogative or for numbers. Each and every so has very tricky usage and one must also learn this one. Each is used for two or more than two nouns without any exception, and every is always used for more than two. It is more holistic. Then we have little, a little and the little. Little has negative sense, which means hardly any. A little has a positive sense, it means something of. A little and the little have positive sense. A little has positive sense, it means some though not much. The use of the little is also positive. It means not much but whatever is, not much but something. Little, a little and the little are used for quantity. And similarly we have few, a few and the few. They are used for the numbers. Their usage is similar like little, a little and the little. So let me wind up the discussion on comparison of adjectives. I hope that you would have got clear idea of degrees of comparison, that is positive, comparative and superlative, and why these degrees are used for comparison and how they are formed. Then you also learned about the use of adjective as nouns and nouns as adjectives, and which kind of adjectives are used as nouns and which kind of nouns are used as adjectives in certain sentences. In addition to this, you also learned about the position of adjectives in sentences, how they are used as predicatively and attributively and why. And at the end you also learned usage of some adjectives. There are so many usage of some adjectives. You can learn this from your book. My sole objective was to communicate my message to you about certain necessary usage of some adjectives and their comparison. I hope I have been able to bring the point home to you. I am sure that once you listen this talk, you will be able to comprehend so many things of adjective and its comparison and its usage. I may very friendly advise you that don't just listen to my talk. This is just an advisory talk. You must always, I repeat, you must always refer to your books and practice. If you don't practice, you won't be able to learn. Practice makes man perfect, and without practice you won't be perfect. Please listen this talk, give time to your books, read grammar and then practice. Always practice. Write small sentences, write paragraphs, use your dictionary, refer to your dictionary and then make small write-ups. So I would request you to please subscribe my channel Virtual Civil Services Academy by Z.A.Langah, and also share the links with all the aspirants who want to learn English grammar and composition and also need consultancy on preparation for a competitive exam. I am available and my all services are free of cost. I will provide every possible support to all the candidates who come in contact with me. I am ready to support them in all terms. Thank you very much. Bye.